Hello everyone and welcome to the Pageant Perspective Podcast, and on this podcast we go beyond the sesh, unveiling stories and celebrating beauty. Today I'm joined by a powerful and beautiful woman, Annalize Smit. Annalize, how are you today?
Good, and you? Thank you.
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a great honor, thank you.
Awesome. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
I'm Annalize Smit, the current Mrs. Sedibeng 2024. It's a great honor and a privilege. As a career woman and mom, I would like to share my life story, and also from here I would like to empower the community and do what Sedibeng stands for, bringing the community together. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm here to define the crown. It's not going to define me, and I'm looking forward to do that.
Beautiful, awesome stuff. Annalize, I wanted to start off with, how did you get into pageantry? Where did Mrs. Sedibeng, how did it come to you?
As a matter of fact, it's the very first time that I'm actually doing this. My mom always encouraged me to do it. In high school, I was part of the Junior City Council, always doing community work, and she always did it through her work as well. And last year I actually saw this Mrs. Sedibeng chance, this opportunity, but I didn't actually want to do it because of the crown. And I didn't want to be on her stage, to be honest. And this year, the beginning of the year, my mom said to me, you know what, Annalize, you've got what it takes. And still I didn't enter. So I just got the message that I was one of the semi-finalists. So my mom and my two daughters decided, well, she's not going to do it, let's do it for her. And you know what, I just decided, you know what, go for it. I did some modeling when I was a teenager, but I didn't go too much into it. But now this time I was jumping in, and I actually enjoyed it. And to have this platform, I realized if I want to actually put myself out there like my mom encouraged me to do, to stand up, share my story, and to uplift people, I need to do this. And yes, it was quite a shock the night when I was actually crowned. I was certain that one of the princesses was going to get the crown, but I'm privileged and I'm honored, and I actually just want to walk this path now, even if I have to give over next year. This is a platform that I'm going to use for life to ensure that I can lift up other people through my own life story. The one sad thing that I also actually want to share to people is it doesn't matter what presses you down in life, from my birth down to my mom that passed away literally 2 weeks before I was crowned. I just decided, you know what, my heart was in the ground, but I had to get up because I've got two daughters that I need to be an example for. And this actually makes my voice greater for the people out there, to lift them up. Doesn't matter how hard life has been, doesn't matter what life throws at you. You must take that, be a stronger person, lift your head, because you're an instrument and you are here for a purpose, because God didn't create you just to be here. He created you for a reason, and you need to look at yourself and realize, hey, I've got this potential because I'm a God creation. And what would South Africa be if people would start doing that?
If everyone loved their potential.
Exactly. I mean, everybody's here for a purpose.
The world would
imagine
be a
what
place.
It can be if all these people that actually down to the ground, being pressed down, no, I can't do this. No. Look in that mirror and say, hey, God loves you. God created you. And we are worth so much more than we actually believe. And I want to lift people up.
That's true. Then may I ask, within the pageant, what was your advocacy? What was it that you were speaking on? What was it that you stood for?
The one thing is people who doesn't believe in themselves. I see that every single day. And people wearing masks. Don't wear a mask and put yourself in another person's box. And there's a lot of people that they listen. You want to be a people pleaser? Don't. Stop. If people love you, they must love you for who you are, for the right reasons. Don't climb in a box just to make someone smile. And sometimes it's even our own family, people close to us who wants to push us and break us down. No. Build a relationship with Father, your Creator, and stand up. There's so many people that I've spoken to in the past that says, Annalize, I want to do this. I'm dreaming this. And I'm asking, why don't you do it? Because of this person and that circumstances. And say, no. Use the circumstances like you use compost for roses to grow. Grow yourself. There's no vitamin pill on the market that's going to make you grow. It's life's circumstances and it's hardships that makes you grow. But go and sit. And it's one of the questions that I've actually answered during the pageantry that I said, go and admit to yourself what you've got. We all know what we've got, what is created within us, but we are so scared to stand up.
Yes.
We are so scared. What if this person says that? What if I fail? Hello, you need to fail. You need to get down to get back up and get stronger. There's a lot of times that I've been on my knees in the past, but that makes you stronger. Athletes, they don't just jump in and do the Olympics. You need to go to gym. You need to get stronger. And as a person, life makes you stronger. And that helps to encourage other people again.
Yeah.
It's a whole life cycle.
Annalize, you do have a very powerful story as well.
Yeah.
And you did mention like just the fact that you were born was a miracle in itself. Can you maybe tell us a bit about that and how that has now brought you to who you are today?
My late mom was actually raped, and she decided to keep me. And as a matter of fact, my aunt was supposed to raise me, and they were supposed to adopt me. I was already with them at home. That my mom also that she actually cried one night, and my grandfather decided, you know what, he's going to fetch me. She raised me. We lived with grandfather and grandmother because my mother's salary wasn't big enough to stay on her own. And being in a house where grandmother battled a bit with bipolar. She was great at times, and there was times that she also had a bit of a battle. And it's not that I want to talk bad about her, but she also showed me what depression is all about.
Yes.
And being raised in such a home, I realized there's much more to life than this happy family. And there's a lot of families out there that's not happy families. My mom actually told me as a teenager, Annalize, doesn't matter what life throws at you. You're not in a perfect home, but a lot of your classmates aren't in perfect homes either. Every person has a different story. There's no such a thing as a perfect family out there. And I needed to stand up and say, listen, it's okay not to be okay. So having that in mind, that no family is perfect, but there are children, there are people growing up, and they are keeping quiet. I mean, a lot of girls are being molested and raped. There's young boys who doesn't have a proper relationship with their fathers.
Yes.
There are so many different stories out there. And people tend to think, I need to keep quiet because I need to safeguard somebody. But at the end of the day, you need to stand up and say, this is what happened to me. Yes. I need to share my story in order to help another person. It becomes a chain reaction through generations. It's okay not to be okay. It's not a sin that you grew up in a house where there are problems. It's okay to stand up and say, let's help each other grow. Because this happened for a reason. You've got your package, but what do you do with that package? Don't shy away. Stand up and say, yes, this is my circumstances, but... The but is very important.
Yeah.
That is what is creating you. That is what forms your character. That needs to be out there when you're an adult. When you are privileged enough to become an adult, be out there. There are a lot of children that dies, but their stories can also be life stories. To be able to be part of this puzzle and build other people up is what's important. If you've got a perfect life, how are you going to help somebody else?
And where will the character be? Where will the story be?
And how would life be if everything is just perfect? Nobody can have a perfect life. Some people think, yes, see, that guy is having this nice car. Look at their house. They must have a wonderful life. And then nobody realizes that in every house, there is something sad. There is a story. There is something going on. And nobody's life it's like our fingerprints. We are all different. And it's for a reason. And then they would come and ask, but why does God let people get hurt? Stop there.
Stop right there.
That's where we are tested. It's easy to say, yes, I believe, yes. Everything is going good. I'm a Christian because everything's going well. But when you are tested, Jesus actually died on a cross for us. And what did he endure? So why can we not endure something on earth? And that is what's being built. And that is what makes creation so much better. And people don't realize that. And I just want to go out there. I'm willing to stand in front of people, say for Women's Day, or it's now already passed. But there are so many times when there are, how can I say, community gatherings, when you can actually talk in front of people and encourage them. And I'm not shy, and I will never be shy to stand in front of them, open my heart, and giving so much of myself to say, listen, I'm not going to hide something. I'm going to open up myself, my whole heart, in order to help other people, because I know people's going to watch this and say, shoo, Annalize, I'm hiding from this. I'm actually hiding that. I need help. I want to help those people. Because the minute you can stand up, you can start to explore what is created within you, and you can take what's created within you and you can take it and put it out there and help to build a community.
Yeah, definitely. Annalize, I would almost say it's an epidemic that, fatherlessness is so vast in our country.
Yeah, actually.
Did you experience that fatherlessness, and how did you combat it? I know your grandfather was probably a good role model to you.
He was a good role model. But yes, there comes a point in your life, especially when you get bigger. It's actually weird, around about 17, 18, and I've seen it amongst some of my classmates and my friends as well. Some of them who didn't have a mother at that point. Some or other gap in your life that you start to experience all of a sudden. And once again, my mom was there sitting, and she said, don't let this break you down. She tried to be the father figure. I had my grandfather, I had uncles who was there, and I actually had a friend whose father also guided me a lot. And that's also where you make a decision. You are preparing yourself for adulthood. And then you need to decide, is this going to really form a gap in my life? Or am I going to close that gap, saying, even though I didn't have this father figure, because you look at yourself in the mirror, stupid things like, oh, I look like I was much taller than my mom.
Yes.
I've got this cheekbones that she didn't really have. And I think, how is he? What kind of a person is he? There's a lot of questions. Don't make a mistake.
Definitely.
But then you need to, once again, and that's also a growing point, you need to start and say to yourself, Father in heaven is my guidance. I've got an earthly father, so what? Father is the one that's going to guide me. Once again, you need to make a shift, a mind shift of, am I going to sit in the corner and say, I don't know my father, and I'm going to make that's going to define me? Or am I going to stand up and say, listen, a wonderful single mother, a God-worthy man, a God's woman actually raised me, and doesn't matter if I know this man or not, I need to stand up tall. So it's every time it's a hurdle, but it makes you stronger, and it forms your character.
That's true. It's also relates to looking to the positive. Sometimes you would want a biological, physically there father, but you can find a little bit of it in other people.
Exactly.
And you have to be grateful and be like, oh, I have this uncle.
And it's amazing that God sends actually so many people to you. I've actually got a list of people that I look back and I think, wow, I mean, I'm 43 years old. I'm not shy to say my age. And I can tell you in different stages, different ages, that I can say, by this age, that people were in my life. And God sends you people, and He sends you so many messages. And it's actually, it's awesome how He works in your life. So, at the end of the day, I didn't know my father. I still don't know him. And at this point, I can honestly tell you, it doesn't matter to me anymore. Because God actually made sure that other people cross my path to help me grow and form me as a person.
That's true. What would you say is the biggest challenge faced by women today? I would think that in our economy and in workplaces, women have been given a good platform. I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
But in other spheres, maybe.
You know what? You must be a career woman, especially married women that needs to also economically help their husbands. I feel sorry for the woman who's actually single, and I take my hats off to them because they still need to do what we need to do. So yes, economically, spiritually, be a wife, be a mother, be a father. We've got so much more that we need to do. You need to be successful on every path that you are. And unfortunately, with the media, when you have children, I see it with my two daughters. It's easy to put a cell phone or some form of media in their hands, but you need to be so careful also for the influence there. So in every area of your life, you need to wake up 100% the whole time. You cannot slack down. So it's being a career woman, it's being there for your children, it's being a wife, to ensure that you've got balance everywhere.
Yes.
And this rat race it's quite hectic at sometimes. But once again comes back to I'm trying my best to always maintain balance, to have proper time with my daughters, have family time, to ensure that the media and the rat race don't take over. Because at the end of the day, it's putting that cell phone down, having a personal relationship with your children, with your husband, that actually forms your family. Yes, you need to have an income, you need to sustain your life, but still, that media isn't the thing that actually is there for your children. It's you as a mother. It's not the relationship with your husband that's being formed by the media, but personally. So that there's a lot of challenges, but still, if you balance it all and you plan properly, you can overcome it.
I want to share something with you. There was I think it was maybe like a week or so ago, and I was questioning some stuff, and I was thinking, and I didn't say this myself. You know when they say God speaks to you?
That idea that all of a sudden gets into your mind.
Something came to me, something said to me, don't hate God or question Him, trust Him.
Yeah.
But it sounded, when something sounds poetic, don't hate Him, trust Him.
Yeah.
And it just stuck with me. And I was like, trust Him. I told myself, trust Him, don't question Him, don't hate Him, trust Him.
It's actually something very personal that I'm going to share now that I haven't, it's just a thought that came up in my mind. I never thought I would actually share it now. The day my mother passed, I mean, I saw her 8:30 in the morning and nothing was wrong, and 12:30 I was sitting next to her body. And you know what, obviously my heart is broken in so many pieces I can't count. And I thought, how am I going to do this? She was here. She was actually living with us the last 5.5 years when she came back from Raids. And she was there constantly. She was there. And I mean, having a special relationship with her since birth, I thought, how am I going to do this? And I looked up to my 2 children. And the next thing is God told me, Annalize, she needs to be with me now. She's going to rest because she had I can say a broken body after 6 back operations. She had a lot of pain on a daily basis. She had problems with her one leg.
Yes.
But coming back to, and he said to me, I must be the most important thing in your life. And I realized with God, I'm nothing. And there's so many times that an idea would just come up in my head and I think God was just talking to me. And the exact thing that you say there's a lot of times in my life that I thought, God, why? I don't understand this. And people would tell me, Annalize, you say you're walking a path with God and you're a Christian. And yes, but it's difficult at times because I also ask questions. And I also think,
yes, we do ask
oh God, why? How can you do this? And then Annalize, just trust. One day you might get the answers, but He tests you sometimes in difficult ways. It's easy to say, yes, I'm a child of God and I trust, when you understand. But it's in the difficult times. And so many times before, and I can actually testify in my own life, there's times that I think, God, I know, I can't do this. How? And you know what? A few months later, maybe a few weeks, and I think, you, God, you work in mysterious ways. And I get goosebumps and I walk and I look back and I see He actually had His reasons. I just needed to look forward and say, I know He's got this and He's got me. And He does.
Have you had an experience with your conscience and tapping into that voice?
A lot of times. As a matter of fact, especially after I met my second husband, I had not a very nice first marriage. I don't actually want to go into that now, but when I met my second husband, yes, obviously I didn't look for a second love because I was quite damaged coming out of my first marriage. But you know what? He actually helped me on the path and I understood so much more. And as a matter of fact, today I can tell you there are times that God gives me this idea or something comes up in my head and I know it's Him. And sometimes another idea would come in and I would say, this is from the enemy. There were times that I had to fetch, to just give you an example, my stepson that lived in Springs. And we are living in Flabel Park. And twice actually it happened that I got this idea just on the R59 before you enter Alberton actually. Then God would tell me, take the highway today. You're not going through Alberton. And I was quite aggravated one Friday afternoon. It was just a hard day at work and everything was just upside down and it's hot. I remember it was towards the end of the year and now God tells me to go through the highway and the highway was actually a 5 kilometer longer. And I thought, you know what, let me just do it. And that split second before I wanted to go off to Swartkopie, so I actually got through and I said, you know what, let me just... And you won't believe it, I just got into the neighborhood where they lived. My husband found me frantically. He said, thank God you're fine. I was, what is going on? And he said there was a terrible accident at some stop street that we actually pass when we go through Alberton. And when I got home, he actually tracked down the time frame approximately. And he said to me, you know what? If you were driving through Alberton, you would have been in that accident. What? And this is just one example. I can keep you busy with a lot of examples in my life. And also, if God tells me, push through something, you know, sometimes I'm tired and I'm thinking, God, I'm not going to do this. Sorry. So it happened one day in a workplace where I was victimized quite a lot. And many times I'll get home, I can't do this. I'm too tired.
Yes.
Annalize, get up, go on.
Yeah.
And you know what? Today, I'm the head of a department. I've actually 2 departments, and God actually pulled me through.
Beautiful.
So, sorry, there's sometimes that I think people question God, think He doesn't exist. But there's so many things in my life that I know He does.
Yeah.
And it's also together with that. I'm not a preacher, but I want to be example. I want to be an instrument helping other people.
You know why I asked the conscience question is because I think your mom had the conscience of keeping you. Like, it was something that was eating her from the inside, you know, and when you were almost adopted by your aunt, it was still like, it's my child.
And it's actually amazing what she actually said. She said it to me in the beginning of the year, actually, when somebody also questioned her, because a lot of my friends would actually ask her, yes, Auntie Anna, how did you do this? How did you do that? A lot of my friends were actually looking up to her. And she said to me, she actually said, as a teenager, she was told that she would never have children.
Sure.
And then she got pregnant, and she did not in the nicest way. And she just said, you know what? I maybe didn't get pregnant while I was married. She was engaged, as a matter of fact, and obviously the guy didn't want to go on because he knew that I wasn't his child. And she said, you know what? Who said I'm going to have more children, and what path God is going to walk with me? And she just decided, you know what? There's no way that I'm going to give you up.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I want to honor her in my work today. That she's in heaven, she's happy, and she's fine. But I need to still do a few things for God down on earth, because He created me, even though it wasn't in the best way.
Yes.
Once again, something that you cannot question, but I'm not going to question it. I'm going to do what I need to do, what He shows me to do.
Beautiful. And then this is sort of like a pageant question, right? But it's on beauty. How would you describe beauty, you know? People describe it in different ways, and you know, when let's say, like when you were on stage, people just thought, oh, this beautiful woman, she's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
But they don't know
what is inside.
What is inside? How would you define beauty, and what makes
there
a woman
was an
truly
answer that I
beautiful?
would initially give and say, it's your personality and the love that you shine. But you know what? I've actually changed it. If I look at the bitterness and the hardships, the broken heartness that I went through, you know, it's beauty. Somebody that can give you a story that they went through and you cannot believe it at that moment, say, this woman can't. There's a woman, and for the life of me now, I can't remember her name. She was raped. She was left for dead in bushes in Cape Town. It was quite a few years ago. It was all over media. Now I can't remember her name. But you know what? Her story was actually horrifying. That woman should have been dead in the first place. And that woman actually got up in life emotionally. I said, whoa, that's what God said.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And you know, shining out God's light. Yes, this is beautiful, but it's going to get old. This is going to die.
Yeah.
What do you have inside? What's beautiful is that people went through such bad things that you cannot imagine yourself. How did you get through that? How did you decide? Because yes, you can say that God lifted me, but as a person, God gives you decisions, your own decision, your own mind. And if you can say, I still stood up, doesn't matter how hard it was. I went through the hardships. There was depression days. People would, if a woman comes and tells me, no, I didn't have depressing days. I'm going, seriously? Especially now after my mother passed. Yes, in that first month especially, there were days that I cried and I thought, yes, where do I have so many tears? And I looked bad and I felt, I was so depressed. But that's not even hard. There's women that goes through a lot more.
Yes.
And if you tell me you went through A, B, C, and D, how did you stand up?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And still shining His light.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful.
You know, I'm thinking of a quote that says, the exact thing that was meant to destroy you, God will use it and turn it into good.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's precious and that's beautiful.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Definitely. I want to ask you with regards to comparison and females, you know. Have you been in it where you compared yourself to others, or have other women compared you to them, and how do you overcome that comparison?
As a small child, I know you're going to laugh. I actually shared it with you before the interview.
Yes.
In primary school, yes, I was always tall and big. I'm an Amazon. I was born big. But in any case, I was fat in primary school, literally fat. This Oros Maniki that you get on the photos, I was his little sister, just with clothes on. So I was I was fat, and I always battled with it because I'm a chocoholic. Yes. Today. Yes, you know, chocolates, I'm telling you. But, and that's why I'm exercising, and I'm trying to get better in CrossFit. It's still in the early stages, but I'm going to stop there. But in any case, yes, obviously I compared myself with these beautiful girls and, guys looking at them and you think, am I ever going to get there? Because then you don't have adult brains yet. But yes, I compared myself, but especially in high school when I started to realize and I asked questions about my biological father, I started to realize, especially with my mom working with me and emotionally preparing me for life, I started to compare myself with my mom, who wasn't even halfway competing in pageantry. She never did something like that. I started to compare myself with strong women in life, because then I started to realize the physical beauty, the face, what does that help if you're not physically a strong woman? So I actually wanted to be like my mom, because she is this absolutely strong woman. There's times that I looked at her and I thought, how are you doing this? And I wanted to be like my mom. And if till today, if I can just be half the woman that she was, then it would be great. But when you go out to other people, just socialize. I mean, obviously you will see somebody, yes, see, the clothes that she's wearing is wonderful. I see things like that. And sometimes you want to also look like that. But something that I've realized, luckily, I got that from my mom as well. If I wear something, it looks good on that woman or on the dressing doll in the window. And if I wear no, it doesn't look good on me. I'm full of nonsense when it comes to that. So I've opened up my eyes early in life for looking the part, but being myself properly. My mom and my grandmother actually hammered it in my head. They also made most of my clothes because of the fact that I'm this tall. Most of my trousers I can't buy in a shop because I'm too tall, and we actually make it ourselves. But from there, it was actually nice not buying something in the shop that's just in part
that anyone could get
a fashion. But obviously I looked at some people and I would actually, am I doing the right thing? Comparing myself. That's normal. So a woman would think, no, I don't think she compares herself to somebody else. I must be as strong as her. No, sometimes you need to compare yourself, especially if it's a woman worthwhile. Just make sure that you compare yourself with somebody that's actually a role model. And yes, there were people actually that would compare themselves to me. And a few times it happened that unfortunately some women would actually withdrew. And afterwards, I would say, if it's a social, ask my husband, what happened then? So no, I think they felt a bit, you were overwhelming, or because of the fact that you're this tall. And that actually showed me I'm concentrating personally on being more personally involved with somebody, especially with a stranger, talking to them much more, introducing myself as a person, showing my heart, that they see, okay, Annalize is not just this overwhelmingly tall woman, especially a shorter woman, and I feel sad for them because don't feel overwhelmed by me, because I actually want to be there as a person showing you my heart. And I just have that tendency, and it's actually second nature to me now. If I see a strange woman, or stranger, obviously, and I see it on their faces actually, and I already read it in their eyes. They feel overwhelmed by my length, say for instance. Then I zoom in and I start to talk to them, making them feel more comfortable. That's second nature to me. So that's what I do.
It's also something, sort of like a gift that I have. Interacting with people and making them feel comfortable. I just realized, it's a great thing.
And it actually shows people, hey, listen, I can actually interact with her more, especially me wanting to reach out to people and to help them. I told you about the counseling certificate that I actually did, just as a very small course that I did, short course. It's not a big qualification, but just to guide me again, once again, to help people. So that actually also gives me an opening with people if they would like to open up more to me and they need help. Because it actually happened quite a few times already that this stranger would actually come to me afterwards and say, listen, Annalize, I actually feel comfortable with you immediately. May I share this? May I talk to you? And then, please, yes, I'm here. So that helps. It's actually an extra benefit to do it then.
What would you say, because your mom was it's your mom and she was a very strong woman and very impactful. What would you say was the most valuable piece of advice that you received from her?
Always look up to God, doesn't matter what. Beautiful. Stay on your knees every time, especially when I went through my divorce. It was a very difficult time. There's a lot of times in my life that I would cry and say something. And a lot of times that I've asked her, how do you do it? Then she'd say to me, you've asked this many times, you're going to get the same answer. God is my strength. God is your strength.
Wow. That's beautiful. Look up to God.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And currently, what motivates you?
At this point, especially my children, I'm very proud of them. I know every mother is, but I'm so proud of them, especially pulling through so strong with their grandmother's passing, because they were very close to as well. They're not the first or the last people that would lose their grandmother, as I'm not the first or last person losing a mother. But I can see that pulling through, they're strong. There's also challenges in our family, like any family has.
Yes.
But you know what? They stay strong. They stay together. If there's anything wrong, troubling, they talk about it, they pray about it, and they stand together. And one thing that I know is they also pray. I always tell them as well, never lose your faith in God. He is your strength.
That's
and
true.
at this point, I just want them to also be as strong as my mother was, and to put them on the right path, because I don't know when my line is drawn, and I want to know that when my time is done, that they can actually stand up and they can go on.
Annalize, with the sash and the crown that you have now, and the story that you have to tell, and I'm sure there's a lot of things planned out for you. Maybe you can share some of the future endeavors, or maybe very soon endeavors that you'll be
we
taking
are planning.
part in.
I was actually very quiet now, especially since I was crowned on the 15th of June, but it's because I'm planning. I am a planner, so yes, I'm a lecturer. So being part of my career, it's planning, because the minute I start with something, I want it to run smoothly. I'm starting with a Facebook page, as a matter of fact, now that we're going to launch now, that I'm going to literally weekly post videos of where I'm going to talk personally to people, encouraging especially women. So I've got the go ahead from Tanda to do that. So I'm going to put on Sedibeng's name, and then from there I'm having a discussion with people this week still, as a matter of fact, to be part of the city the city chamber, business chamber for the World Triangle. Then I'm going to start doing work there. There's a hospital or two that we're going to start to visit. There's quite a few things. Actually, there's more that we're going to do than I'm actually mentioning now, because we're going to have a list now that we're going to start with the chamber, because then we are going to spread out and going to do the work. I'm still going to do my patrolling work. I'm a patroller. My husband is a policeman, so I actually do that for quite a few years already now, that I put in hours, help to patrol the areas, help with some of the operations that they do. In our own hours, we don't get paid, so it's a great privilege for me to do that. So together with this Facebook page that's going to be launching now, there's going to be a lot of other things that we're going to draw in, and that I'm going to reach out to people, because one thing that I want to emphasize is I am not just now for 2024 going to do work. This is going to be continuous until I lay my head down.
Until you lay
so
your head down.
There's no stop. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to do.
It's upwards from here.
Yeah, exactly.
And
More
then
the better.
Yes, and my second last question too is, Annalize, what legacy would you like to leave behind? And how would you like to be remembered?
For people to say they could see God's work within me, that I was His instrument, and that I helped to develop other people, to help them to stand up and to live their purpose, because that's what they're here for. As simple as that.
Yes. And my last question to you, Annalize, for the women out there who might be going through, some tough times, and as females, as women, we experience a lot of difficulties, but you can maybe look into the camera and just encourage females, encourage the women out there. What would you say to them?
Stand up, look to God. That's what I did. He is your only strength, and He gives answers. Sometimes not at the times that we want. I never got the answers at the times I wanted it. But God comes through in the weirdest, strangest, but the most amazing ways. And please, if I start with my Facebook page, I will even share it with you people to share it out there. Feel free to contact me personally. I would love to be your pillar, even if it's only over a WhatsApp. That's what I'm here for. I want to encourage you to stand up, because you all have a purpose. Don't let the enemy drag you down. You are worth much more than you'll ever think. And I will gladly be there to encourage you. Never think that I'm going to say you are bothering me. I am here to be bothered. I'm here to help.
Beautiful. Do you have anything else that you maybe want to say? Maybe
just look in the mirror. You know what? A lot of people, a lot of women, you get women that just say, oh, you think a lot about yourself. There's a very thin line between thinking a lot about yourself, but also having a proper self-esteem. Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself, because you are worth much more than you might imagine, because you are a God's creation.
Awesome. Annalize, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you for having me.
May God take you from strength to strength.
Thank you.
And may He empower you to do all that He has set you out to do.
I believe I will be able to.
And
Thank
a
you.
big thank you to her daughters who are here today and her husband for allowing us to have her here.
Well, he's more than happy to do it, because he's also encouraging me, so I can't
Yes.
moan and groan or say something about the time, so don't worry about that.
Okay, awesome stuff.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. To our viewers, thank you guys so much for watching. It was Candice Freeman, Annalize Smit, and from the Pageant Perspective Podcast team, it's bye for now.